Here for the farmer Skillshare over the fence rails. I am excited to introduce this because I really like learning about farmer innovations. And we have with us today Maggie Dungan from Salad Days Farm, talking a little bit about her root washer. Bryce Baumann from Lazy 8 Stock Farm, talking about his needle seeder. Joni Nelson at KSU, talking about the CoolBot, and Steve Skelton, also from KSU, talking about some DIY poultry tools. Thank you all for sharing your innovations. We're going to give each of you about 10 minutes to talk about them, and then leave about 5 minutes for questions. We also have a little bit of time for questions at the end. You can come talk to the speakers. Yeah, all right.
Hello. My name is Maggie Dungan. I have Salad Days Farm. It's in Versailles. It is just a diversified market garden vegetable farm, all the things, farmers markets, on-farm store. We grow most of the vegetables. I'm going to show you a quick video of the root washer in action, but I'll talk about why I built it and why it's amazing. I've built a lot of things on my farm. Some successes, a lot of failures, just trying to be more efficient and productive and solving a problem. So historically we would bunch like carrots or beets, spray them with a hose, your typical kind of market garden thing, take them to market, pile them high on the table. They look amazing, like you want to buy them yourself, pile it high, watch it fly. And which is great, and absolutely, but one of the issues we were really having is with a bunch of employees and different people making the same size bunches. We'd go to wash and I'd hold one up and another, and I'd be like, hey guys, these are not the same, and you could even like weigh them out to show there's a huge difference. So you want your customer to have a fair share and everybody get the same. So we started topping all our carrots, and we grow a lot of carrots. And we top all our root vegetables now and wash them through the root washer. And the other benefit is that we top them in the field, so all the tops go back on the beds, adding that organic matter, just keeping it clean. And then just the speed and efficiency and the way that this thing works cannot be replicated by a human with a hose. So I bought a brand new cement mixer from Lowe's. It was about $300. It's about 4 cubic feet, and I was kind of taking a gamble because I'd seen maybe like 1 or 2 of these on the internet. Just somebody had built something, and I'm like, yeah, but really, how well does it work? So knowing that I was going to drill holes in it was a little made me wary, because once I drilled holes in it, it was no longer able to mix cement and would just be useless. But it works great, so I can tell you to go buy one now. So here's a video, and I just made this like 2 days ago because I was just told to do this 2 days ago. So I didn't actually have any dirty vegetables because we've already washed everything. We do a lot of winter roots like turnips, watermelon radishes, black radishes, storage crops like that, because we sell all year. So these are some watermelon radishes that I just re-washed. So hopefully, yeah. And there's no sound, sorry, so. So that's just a grill cover that I bought that magically comes off. And so it stays outside. We've had this about 2 years. I built it about 2 years ago. And it just, there's not much to it, so you can't break it very much. That's the inside. Those are just brush heads for, oh, I didn't mean to stop it. But really, all this video, it just shows it in a slow motion action. I can fit maybe like 50, 60 pounds of roots in there. And we just take a hose and just stand there with the hose and let the water spray while the thing moves. Yeah, there you go. Definitely want to have it as level as you can. It just works better hitting the brushes. And we just stand there until the water runs clean. And I have put some very, very muddy vegetables in there, and it works. I was skeptical about that before I built it, just because I've seen those barrel washers in action, like UK has one. And then, you're just dumping it, and that's it. Yeah, well, I'm glad that worked. Daikon radish, we put that in there, so something that's long like that, that you might worry about breaking, doesn't break. The only thing I would say about what I did and that you should not do is if you notice that the holes that I drilled for the water to come out they're probably about 3 inches maybe in diameter. That's a little big, if we have some small nubby carrots, they kind of fall out. So it's been my intention to weld some screens or something on there, and just haven't because that doesn't sound fun. So yeah, drill smaller, more holes, or weld some screen on there. But yeah, other than that, if you do any kind of volume of roots, I highly recommend it. Well worth the $300. And the thing, so with our carrots, for example, we bag them for market, so we can sit there in the packing shed in the shade, sitting down, something, not in the sun. Multiple people can do it. You can give the task to that idiot high school that you hired, and, he can surely not mess that up. And then the other thing is, my customers, they don't always know to take the tops off the carrots, and so they come back the next week and they're like, my carrots are mushy, and I'm like, well, did you take the tops off? And they're like, no, and I was like, well, that's why. So we're doing that for them, so we're already doing them a service. But yeah, yes.
With beets, how long of a stem do you leave on them, and do they bust up?
Like bleed and stuff? No, they don't. Maybe half an inch. Like some of us will like cut the tops off, but I just rip it off with my hand. But yeah, we've not had any like bleeding issues. Yep.
I don't know if you mentioned earlier or not, but like what's the maximum amount of produce that you're putting in there?
Yeah, so it's about 50 or 60 pounds. So like this gray tub, I don't know if you can tell how big it is, but it could be just about all the way full. I mean, and it's like, that's about as enough as a person can lift, because you have to go like, get it kind of high to get in there. Yep.
When you have like 50, 60 pounds in there, how long does it take before it runs clean?
I would say less than 40 seconds. And the other thing is, like, if you have to like go do a little thing, like, you can let the thing go, spinning, and it's not like you have to be watching it the entire time. And you could set it up to have like a hose that just, is standalone and spraying on it. But it is also just kind of fun to like watch it spin and spray.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Cool. Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, glad that worked. Thank you.
So I'm Bryce Baumann from Lazy 8 Stock Farm, Madison County. We operate as CSA, sell wholesale, sell at farmers market, and started selling custom grown plants for order, so certified organic plants for other farmers. Kind of scaling up our greenhouse, the custom plant order business, it's like we're growing for smaller people, so one thing we kind of found ourselves running into was high diversity, needing to seed a high diversity of crops, but there was never the instance that we would be seeding, 20 or 30 trays. Most people need 2 trays of tomatoes or 5 trays of peppers, and it's kind of a low volume, high diversity situation where we never have like the need for some kind of, expensive needle seeder. So this is a needle seeder that I built off some parts that I had from another project. And a needle seeder is a automated seeder that uses vacuum suction to pick up seeds and put them in the trays. And then it uses air to exhaust those seeds into the tray. And if you buy a commercial one that can maybe seed 400 or 500 trays an hour, the cheapest one I found was $18,000, and it's like, I don't know if I really need that for what this is, because it's kind of it's a little bit of an experiment to see if this is going to work for picking up tomato seeds. All of our round seeds, we use a plate vacuum seeder, which is kind of like a tobacco seeder, or we buy pelleted onion seed or something, and those seeds roll around on a plate that's the size of a 1020 flat and suck up against a little hole, and then you turn the whole plate upside down on the tray and turn off the vacuum, and all the seeds fall into the hole. That works great. I think a lot of people say anything that's round and brown, so kale seed, cabbage, all that stuff works great. But still, you need a certain amount of seed to charge the seeder, so you got to buy a bigger seed packet just to get enough seed rolling around in the tray that you're not sitting there like a little kid's game trying to get it to line up on the holes. So you need a lot of seed, and some of these varieties are really expensive. So if you get an order from somebody for, they want 2 flats of something that's kind of odd, you don't want to sit there and you've got to do 30 different things. You don't want to sit there and individually seed all these trays. So this was like a good middle ground for us, and I think it would also work well for anybody that finds themselves in a similar situation where you want to seed a high diversity of crops without a tremendous amount of volume. I think years ago, before I bought my plate seeder, I bought something called a Can Do It seeder from Blackmore Company. For this very reason, I thought this is going to be good. It's going to allow me to pick up tomato seeds and stuff. And it never worked. It was like the way it came with a vacuum pump and a little tray for the seed. And I could never get the seeds to stick to the wand. And so I made some improvements on it. And the trays slide underneath it. You can see the wand in my hand there. They're dosing needles, so they're not sharpened needles, but they have a lure lock on them, which is just like a normal syringe needle. That's a vacuum pump. It has a 3-way valve on the handle, so when you turn the pump on, it's sucking vacuum through the needles, and then when you hit the valve, it exhausts the seeds. Those are the needles, so different size seeds need different needles. And this was the key to the change in it. This is an amalgam vibrating thing from the dentist, bought it off of Amazon, and adding the vibration, the seeds go on a little cookie sheet, and then you turn the vibrator on and they bounce around, and that's what helps them bounce up into the needle, so you're not sucking dirt or anything. You just kind of dip the needles into the seed, and then the vacuum pulls them against the needle. And then I built this little manifold. So this was the manifold for a 1020 tray. It's air hose, and then I used a otoscope tip as a little funnel for that. I've got different trays that, for a 50 cell or whatever, you can just pull that manifold out and get a new one. And I've got a couple different ones there. So I've got it with me. If anybody wants to hear more about it, I'll plug it up and show you how it works. It's a pretty cool thing. I'd say it costs about $300 or $400 to make one, and it really speeds up seeding trays. So, thanks. It would, but the idea is that you have a small amount of seed. So if you have a big long wand, you've got to have enough seed to cover the whole wand. So this allows you to have a very small amount of seed and then spread the seed out when you drop it down the chute. So the Can Do It seeder was the width of the tray. You would pick it up and then drop it directly in the tray, but then you've got to have too much seed to do that, for it to work that way. So this way you got a little bit of seed, but you spread the seed out when you put it in there.
Have you tried it with brassicas and?
Yeah, it'll work with zinnia. It'll work with zinnia seed, raw onion seed, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. That's the great thing about a needle seeder is you can pick up any, odd shaped marigold seed. I mean, it's like that stuff's easy. Those are the easy ones. Any of that round stuff, you can do a plate seeder. It's when you get into stuff like zinnia that's got like or fluffy or something that's like crazy stuff. This will singulate it really easy. And you can do it, you don't have to look at it. And it's like, when you're seeding that stuff individually, you're all hunched up and tense and trying to scrape them off a piece of paper or something with a toothpick. This, you just dip it into the pile of seed and it comes out perfect. It will. You can kind of knock it on the table, or you can adjust your needle size if you don't want to do that. It'll always have some doubles or skips or something, but it's so much faster that I don't worry about I'll seed a little bit extra. Sometimes none, sometimes, if you've got, with the needle seeder, with this one, it could totally vary, and it can vary depending on the user, how, you got to be pretty focused. I wouldn't do, if you're doing a huge volume, I would get something else. I'd buy a different type. There's some intermediary models that are like $5,000 that might work, but this works great. If you got 30 or 50 trays, this thing's, I think, all you need.